welcome. So, of course, by the title, I will be discussing not being afraid to walk away. Walking away can mean so many things in so many different contexts. It could be walking away from a relationship, whether it's a conflicting relationship with maybe a friend or a significant other or a parent. Maybe walking away from a job that is not in alignment with your purpose. It could be walking away from a temporary situation where, say, like maybe you're out and about and you feel like this unction, you feel like this weird feeling over you where you're just needing to leave. The presence is not, positive. You feel heavy. You feel this dread over you. And so I will be breaking those things down in terms of what walking away can look like, what will happen once you do walk away, and what are the feelings of being in a situation where you know you need to walk away, and then the feelings when you're on the other end when you finally decide like, hey, this is the right decision to make. Let's just hop into it. So, I had to get my water. So, number one thing is realizing that walking away allows you to walk into more than what you're leaving behind. Now, if you're someone who is nervous about uncertainty or you hate walking into situations without knowing the outcome, then this is where you're going to have to muster up the courage and saying, well, I know I'm not getting any peace. I'm not gaining anything as of right now being in this situation. So I know for a fact that walking away will have much more for me, whether it be, building into your goals, building into yourself, investing in yourself, or just literally simply creating a better atmosphere where you're not stressing out. You know that walking away from this situation will leave you better than staying in it. And so you have to see it as you walking into peace, walking into wealth, walking into purpose, walking into the abundance of what life has to offer. Any situation that is draining you mentally, and draining you mentally obviously means that you're not going to be able to, function well in other areas. So conflicted with so many things that maybe you're not dedicating enough time to your self-care. Maybe you don't have enough energy to, build into or give life to other people. And that could simply just be like hanging out with friends, hanging out with family, checking in on them, saying, hey, how are you doing? Because you're so tied up with this situation and it's just draining you physically and mentally. But on the other end, I may not know what the outcome may be. I don't know what things may look like for me if I walk away from this situation, but I know it has to be better than this. And at least at that point, you can say, hey, been through this, done that, and you could take away some life lessons from it and say, this is what I could have did a little bit better. These are the things to look out for so that I don't walk into this situation again. So remember that this could mean so much more for you and your life and your overall purpose. So again, whatever goals you have for yourself, looking at the situation and breaking it down piece by piece, and say, hey, how does this build into my life? How does this build into me? Do I get peace from this? Am I able to invest in myself, whether invest in myself financially, spiritually, physically? Does this, match into my purpose of maybe starting a business, starting a community initiative, whatever that may look like? And again, life has so much to offer. So settling and saying, well, it'll pass, or it may get better. This is all I'm worth. Those little thoughts that you have. Okay, guys, so I know you're like, homegirl looks a little different. But my last clip literally was me filming and recording probably a week and a half ago, and that's real authentic, and I want to put that authenticity in my videos. My camera ended up dying, so I had to take a moment to charge it back up, and then I got off into some other things, but nonetheless we're back, and we're gonna hop into the second part. I want to use this part of the video to talk about what comes with walking away. You may have a lot of fear about what decision is the right decision to make, even if it is a right decision to make, because even a decision that may appear to be right may not feel that way in the moment. You may teeter back and forth knowing that it's the right decision to make, but just getting past that roadblock in your mind is like, oh my gosh. Like, you just feel like you're at a standstill. You're maybe fear of knowing, like, okay, what may come, what may not happen. And then that whole phase where you're just like going back and forth, that whole phase is a matter of second guessing yourself and experiencing so much doubt, being double-minded. Like, okay, I'm gonna do this today. I'm going to tell that person no to plans that I made today. You know what? I'm actually feeling in a better mood. You may just say like, oh, I don't want to hurt their feelings, and maybe I'll feel a little bit better, or maybe my mood will change, instead of just saying what it is at the moment and what you're feeling at that moment. Your first thought, your first gut feeling that, no, I don't want to move forward with that decision, and just saying no. And then you start to have certain thoughts in your mind, thinking that stay in a certain situation that is not bringing you any peace, any joy, and it may be from a job that you have just started. It may be in a relationship, or maybe even you've been in the relationship for a while, or you've been in the job for a while. You may say, well, if I just stay, if I just give it more time, things will get better, things will improve. But I know that in most situations, you know deep down in your heart, things won't improve, things won't get better. And so you kind of go back to that moment of second guessing yourself. You start to minimize the pivotal points that made you arrive to the conclusion, like, hey, this is not for me. And you start to literally inflate all of the good moments. You start to reminisce, well, my boss gave me a compliment today on this deliverable. And it's like, okay, but when you come home, you feel like pulling your hair out. When you come home, you are not in a peaceful state, and that is starting to spill over into maybe relationships with friends or family members, because you may have a short attitude, and it's misaligned energy because it's coming from your job, because you're not really happy at your job. Your job is not feeding back into your purpose, which kind of goes back into the first part. So next part, we're going to talk about what does it feel like when it's time to walk away. And I briefly have talked about those different feelings, those different thoughts that may start to permeate once you're in a situation where you're, you know, saying, I need to walk away from this situation because it's not serving me and the goals that I have for myself, or aligning with the values that I have outlined for myself. One, it's very dreadful, and I think even wanting to walk away in the first place, you have to have some sense of restlessness, this weight on your shoulder, just knowing that it's not in alignment with what you wanted or what you envisioned for yourself. And it's crazy because I don't know how much we actually realize that a lot of the decisions that we make, the stress or maybe the anxiety that we take on, that literally can start to affect your health. So, you know, you being anxious and super stressed can turn into having heart palpitations, maybe you having a headache, any type of physical strain or hurt. And in the long run, that's not healthy. So being very cognizant about the longer that you stay in this situation, the bigger implications that it does have on your health in the long run, and it's better to just walk away. Another feeling that you may have, of course, is annoyance. You start to feel like, okay, when you're in this friend group, everybody kind of dismisses you. You get treated differently in comparison to other friends in the friend group, and that starts to annoy you. But you keep brushing it off. You keep brushing it off, but it's like the more that you brush it off, the more that you're going to be annoyed. Or let's say you decide to address the situation in the friend group, or address what has been giving you these feelings of annoyance. It's like there's no resolution. It's like it's falling on deaf ears, and at that point you know that how you felt was valid. You went about it in the correct way, and after you gave that person, or you address these issues with your boss about how you feel about the job, and there's nothing done to rectify what you laid out, or what you brought to the surface, then that's how you know it's time for you to go. It's confirmation. And so I think that within itself will give you so much more reassurance and so much more clarity that it's better to give your energy to places and people who will value you.